Hi. I wanted to make a video like this in the hopes that it could be useful for those thinking about getting into K dramas or just getting into K dramas not quite knowing which way is up yet. Additionally, as an avid and longtime K drama watcher myself, I kind of wanted to challenge myself and just see what I would come up with, what things I'd have to say about K dramas. Last thing I wish to clarify before I start is that, much as I wish to be, I'm not an everlasting fountain of knowledge, and there may be things I get wrong in this video. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. So let's get with it. Misconceptions. So, a big misconception I've gotten from a lot, and I mean a lot of people, is that K dramas are all romances, which could not be further from the truth. Don't get me wrong, I'd still watch the hell out of them if they were, but I think that's a giant disservice to the other rich, very well construed, and varied genres present in K dramas. And true, you do get these other genres sharing pantaloons with romance sometimes, but I feel the determining factor is which genre takes center stage in the drama. Another misconception is that they're too unrealistic, the romance too romantic. Sigh. There are certain staples when watching cinema from certain countries. For example, if I were watching a Hindi film and everyone suddenly starts singing, accompanied by a well choreographed sequence, I wouldn't bat an eye. If that happened in a K drama, I would certainly clutch my non existent pearls and wonder if I were dreaming. All I'm getting at is prepare your mind for certain staples, especially in the romance genre in K dramas. Just like seeing a car sail through multiple buildings in an American movie. They're certainly not going anywhere. Next, let's talk references. One thing K drama writers like to do is reference other K dramas, usually for comedic purposes. For example, the coffee shop scene in Secret Garden has been referenced a lot. Another iconic scene is the F4 entrance scene in Boys Over Flowers with the Almost Paradise soundtrack blaring in the background. Sometimes they subvert your expectations of what the scene will end up being, and it's just so good. For a delicious serving of K-drama references that are still well and thriving now, see Boys Before Flowers, The Hairs, Secret Garden, Coffee Prince, among others. Now, I'm not saying you absolutely need to watch the older K-dramas to have an enjoyable experience, but it's really nice to recognize the reference scene and say, hey, I got that. I understood it. Now onto lingo. Lingo used by fans include this stands for male lead, basically the main male character. If we're going the tropey route, he'll be either descended from very rich family or a self-made super rich guy. He'll also be the one who'll make you wonder, forget relationships. Why would anyone even want to be within touching distance of this guy? But eventually, we'll learn that underneath the insults and disdain for other humans and arrogance and selfishness, there's a heart, somewhat, located somewhere in him. These kinds of male leads are not as rampant nowadays, but back then, we truly were in the trenches. For example, male lead who literally bullies the female lead. Male lead who belittles the female lead for her background and education. Now, contrast this with K-dramas have come a long way and still managed to retain so much of what made them beloved in the first place. Heart. The heart in the chest of these fine men. This stands for female lead, the main female character. She's kind, she's evil, she's gentle, she's feisty, she's savage, She's happy all the damn time for God knows what reason, and she is quirky, quirky, quirky. Her vagina love will heal the hero's trauma. Also, the absolutely gorgeous female who, for the purpose of a drama, will pretend is ugly by giving her bangs, giving her glasses, giving her frizzy hair. I will say that I admire the strength of character that female leads usually have. They usually have a good set of morals that they stick to, come hell or sexy male lead. This refers to the second male lead, who is usually the antithesis to everything the male lead is. Lovely, kind, soft spoken, a warm heart, is helpful to the female lead, does not stand in her way, literally and figuratively. Sometimes they're wolves in sheep's clothing, but they're usually just all around nice guys. This refers to the second female lead. They're usually gorgeous, rich fashionistas, and very rarely, if ever, do we get them being as angelic at heart as our second male leads. If we're really in Tropesville, there'll be the childhood friend of the male lead who probably abandoned him at some point to find herself or some shit. Then, after an amazing grace, will try to slide back in, emphasis on try. Or she'll be the chosen one by the male lead's family and now feels entitled to his affections. Funny thing about second female leads is that actresses who play these stunning characters go on to get bigger roles as female leads themselves. And now, because they've strapped on a bow cut and glasses, ugly. This stands for one true pairing, and that's our main couple. This stands for happily ever after. This is second lead syndrome, specifically second male lead syndrome. Because of the aforementioned good qualities of the second male lead, we, the viewers, end up rooting for him over the male lead. I already mentioned that we almost never get a decent second female lead, so we're left slobbering and pining over the second male lead, hoping against all odds he'll end up with the female lead and be happy. That won't happen though. Number 1, gender bender. This one comes in many forms, but the most common is when the female lead is in a situation where she has to pretend to be a boy, and shenanigans ensue. Usually, if this is done right, it's to show that the guy loves the girl for who she is, regardless of gender, and also gives the male lead interaction with the female lead outside of the usual romantic norms. A fun twist to this trope is in Secret Garden, where the male lead and the female lead exchange bodies, souls. Hyunbin and Hajiwon did such a good job in this one, and so it must have been very fun to play. It wasn't just acting like the opposite gender, but acting like a particular person of the opposite gender and having to show their mannerisms that we've been seeing in previous episodes. Actually, the most realistic looking among these that I've seen is from a Taiwanese drama called Bromance. But since we're talking K-dramas, I'd say Yunun here in Coffee Prince because some of these are just examples of dramas with this trope. Number 2, forced cohabitation. This is when forces beyond the character's control, i.e., the writers, do everything to shove them into the same house or at the furthest the same building. If the male lead and female lead started out on bad terms, this gives them an opportunity to let go of the notion that the other person is a devil possessed demon. They're laid bare before the other person, sometimes quite literally, and they're just kind of forced to work out their differences and see the good in each other. If they were already friends before living together, then this is the chance to see the other person in a romantic light. Sometimes it's not even that they're not attracted to each other, just that they're afraid to jeopardize their friendship, so they learn to overcome their fears. Examples of dramas with this trope. Number 4, misunderstandings. The number one trope K-drama watchers have prayer circles for to die a permanent death. No reincarnation bullshit. While doing research for this video, some examples of these misunderstandings that I'd forgotten about came up, and I swear I remember exactly how pissed off I was when I watched them. But there needs to be some sort of conflict, I hear you state with conviction, for the couples to grow. Let me just watch this. Does she A. confront them, B. confront them and ask what's going on, or C. confront the guy and ask what's going on? No, she does none of those. They drag out the shit for so many episodes. Ugh. Number 5, supernatural half. This is a very common thing we see in K-dramas where one half of the couple is a supernatural being and there is some pressing life-threatening issue that tries to keep them apart forever. Examples of K-dramas with this trope. Number 6, moments. So I didn't quite know what to label this as, so I went with moments. K-dramas usually have certain scenes that are emotionally charged and aesthetically pleasing. One of the ways this is done, for example, is bag hugs or even something as simple as holding hands. This scene always makes me so gooey inside. You see, one thing K-dramas do well is slow burn. They gradually build up to these sometimes seemingly small but relationship defining moments. You'll be so invested, whether it be moments like this or something like this. The payoff is usually glorious, and you just want to scream, squeal inside, stand, sit, roll, and fly all at the same time. There are still other tropes like White Truck of Doom. In the past, a member of my family did something bad to a member of your family or entire family. Childhood connection, amnesia, breaking up in the penultimate or last episode for no reason, rich boy, poor girl, which I think deserves a video of its own. But then, this long video would be even longer than it already is. So I'll stop here. The last thing I'll chip in before giving recommendations here is that K-dramas use quite a number of professions as the backdrop to which the story plays out. And yes, they do romanticize certain aspects a bit or a lot, but it's usually varied and gets you interested in the profession, and you'll probably learn a thing or two. Number 1, action, thrillery, suspensey kind of dramas. And for these, I'd recommend Flower of Evil, Phantom, Life on Mars, Healer, Duel, Beyond Evil, Strangers from Hell, and The Revenant. For a comedy, I'd recommend Welcome to Waikiki 1. Emphasis of 1 because season 2 was a choice made by people. Sound of Your Heart, Prison Playbook, and The Fiery Priest. For historicals, I'd recommend Tree with Deep Roots, Queen for 7 Days, The Red Sleeve, The Crowned Clown, and The Witch's Mirror. For Slice of Life, I'd recommend A Poem a Day, Our Blues, My Liberation Note, The Reply series, all of them, Hospital Playlist 1 and 2, Fight for My Way, Age of Youth 1 and 2, and My Name is Kim Samson. For romance, and if you've been paying attention, you should be able to tell that this is my favorite genre. I'd recommend Something in the Rain, One Spring Night, Tomorrow with You, You Miss Cells, Into the Ring, It's Okay That's Love, Run On, and Romance is a Bonus Book. The ones that I feel didn't quite fit in any of my categories, but I still want to recommend are Extracurricular, Devil Judge, Liar Game, Weak Hero Class 1, and D Day. Here's a question that doesn't get asked often. Would you like to cry? Do you want to watch something heart wrenching, heartbreaking? I recommend The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, God's Gift 7 Days, The Third Charm, Between Lovers, and Dear My Friends. You think you're strong, eh? You think you're tough. You will crumble after watching these. Finally, I'd like to thank my brain and eyes. All these years of Kdramas have produced something I'm proud of. In conclusion, why do I think you should watch Kdramas? No reason actually. You should try them out if you want to. If they work for you, welcome to the fold. If they don't, finally, and this is the finally, if you have questions, you need recommendations, you want to rant about something you've watched, you want to profess your love for K drama, my flame burns for thee. Whatever, join us on r/K drama. It's really fun and chill there. For now, bye bye.